Story 1, all the applications. I swear, if I have to download yet another application just to do something simple like park at a baseball game, it's so annoying. Story 2, YouTube on the television. Once I encountered 5 ads in a row. I refused to pay anything for a premium subscription. Story 3, the fact that I need to create an account, set a password, download an application, fill out my personal information, and link a credit card just to use the restroom is absolutely absurd. It is ridiculous to require a password, a verified profile, and a linked credit card just to access the bathroom. This is truly the pinnacle of modern convenience. Story 4. Kansas is experiencing significant wildfires, negatively impacting the air quality for everyone nearby during one of the few times of the year when windows can be left open all day and night. Story 5. Those unskippable ads on videos that are under 30 seconds can be frustrating. I came here for a meme, not a lengthy discussion on car insurance. Story 6. Artificial intelligence answering systems prompt you to respond but often struggle to understand your input. Additionally, you can no longer speak directly to a pharmacist. Instead, you are advised to leave a brief voicemail and someone will return your call within an hour. Story 7. People who take a political side without doing any research are similar to those who choose a political party based on the race or gender of a politician instead of their policies. Story 8. I recently expressed my concerns about tipping culture. I am frustrated that many establishments are trying to raise the standard tip to 25% for very basic services. Story 9. Those push-and-turn pumps on soap bottles and lotions are difficult to open. I am pretty sure I have never successfully opened one. Half of them just break immediately. Story 10. Bright LED headlights on vehicles can be quite intense. I have astigmatism in both eyes. My genes may not be strong, but I wonder why I am being blinded by them. Story 11. Why do I have to create a username and password for every single app, order, or to pay a doctor's office bill? Story 12. I have a problem with Keurig. The first few batches of their machines allowed you to hit the power button, then the brew button, and the water would start to heat. This was perfect because I could grab a cup, fill the machine with water, pop in a pod, and start brewing all in one step. Then someone decided that when you hit the power button, the water starts heating first, and you can only brew after the water has reached temperature. Completely ruined the product for me. What was once a convenient single-serve coffee maker has become a bulky, tedious appliance that requires constant attention throughout the process. Story 13. People in the dual turning lane at a light are getting into your lane during the turn and honking at you for it. Story 14. Any advertisement you see for the next 10 years will be powered by artificial intelligence. If you want to buy some new cutlery, don't worry. It's powered by artificial intelligence. A new coat? Artificial intelligence. It's just a meaningless buzzword at this point, and I'm already over it. Story 15. Creating usernames and passwords requires a minimum of 17 characters. Forgetting passwords may necessitate resetting them. Story 16. Tipping culture has spread globally, largely due to United States-centric applications related to food delivery and transportation services. Story 17. Social media has shifted from being about connecting with people I know to being inundated with aggressive advertising in 15-second intervals. Story 18. Clothing sizes for women are completely random. I am a size 8 in one store, a size 12 in another, and apparently I do not even exist in a third. Please make it make sense. Story 19. How disrespectful children are to teachers nowadays. I can't imagine a world where I'd think it was acceptable to call my teacher bruh or tell them they are doing too much. Even the videos content creators make, acting like their students, make me cringe. As a nurse, I dislike most of nurse doc. I'm in my early 30s yet feel like a crotchety old person. Story 20. The cupcake industry offers a variety of cake sizes, including mini cupcakes and jumbo cupcakes. Story 21. Illegal wiretapping is sold under the guise of analytics telemetry and product placement convenience for the sale of services. Story 22. Pollen is overwhelming. If it's not covering my car, it's affecting my health. I can't breathe, my eyes look swollen, and my nose is stuffy, runny, and itchy. And we're not even in May yet. Story 23. Technology in general is fascinating. I appreciate the medical technology that allows for easier surgeries. However, why is there a hotspot at Ruby Falls? You are in a cave hundreds of feet down in a mountain. People can't wait to leave the mountain to post their pictures. Look at the waterfall. It was so beautiful that it made me cry. Story 24. Dynamic ticket prices. In addition to the fees, it is frustrating that they are allowed to raise prices as tickets sell. Story 25. Gnats. If you see me swinging at nothing in public, I am single-handedly fighting an entire colony by myself. Story 26. People are reporting posts on Reddit as threats or violations when there is clearly no threat or violation. Story 27. 1. QR code menus at restaurants. Pop-up ads in applications that force us to watch before we can proceed to the next action or page. 2 ads of 2 minutes on YouTube just to watch a goal video of 15 seconds. Subscription fees for app features such as car connectivity via mobile, even after paying a significant amount for a new car. It feels like a rip-off after the initial purchase. Reckless driving or riding a motorcycle with a child. Nothing makes me angrier than those individuals on the road who disregard the safety of the child with them. Creating an account on a random application or website for the smallest of tasks. It feels like we need to download an app and create an account even for basic needs such as using a public restroom in some locations. Job applications are the worst. Story 28. Any kind of plastic food packaging that says, "Tear here," like cheese packaging, often does not tear as indicated. Story 29. Beef is good in pasta dishes, but I would say it is more common for me to have chicken in such dishes instead. Story 30. People believe that you can't be racist if you're not white and that women can't be sexist. What happened to equality? Why are people trying to reverse the roles? I especially notice this with some women commenting on all men. If a man can't do something to a woman shouldn't do it to a man either. Some of my friends seem to disagree with me on this, but it's becoming a problem, and men are starting to feel sorry simply for being men. Story 31. Some people are accepted as difficult or arrogant or immature, and if they are like that all the time, it's forgiven. For example, that's just how he or she is. However, if a generally pleasant or neutral person has a bad day or makes a mistake, it seems like everyone criticizes them and says, "Whoa, you need to fix yourself." It's frustrating, and I dislike seeing awful behavior tolerated. Story 32. Forced car ownership comes with costs that are necessary to function in society. I moved to an area where my family can manage with one car, but it still feels excessive. The grocery store is less than a mile away, but walking there is incredibly dangerous because of the road size. Meanwhile, my partner went in for car maintenance, and while discussing the needed services, the person assisting them casually mentioned a $100 discount. I'm grateful, but why not just make that the price to begin with? Story 33. Dwayne Johnson behaved rudely to my theater troupe in 2004, and I still haven't forgiven him. Story 34. Online sports betting has always intrigued me, but I believed gambling was reserved for trips to Las Vegas. I don't think it is appropriate to present these advertisements to a society increasingly prone to addiction. I would prefer to see ads for legal sex work so that men can stop resorting to violence due to feelings of shame from their upbringing regarding issues like masturbation. Moreover, the tipping culture has become problematic, as it feels like just another ineffective application. Story 35. The group therapy I attend has an intern observing, and she said that I am not the kind of person who makes people miss me. Story 36. Restaurants that refer to sandwiches as sandos seem to be a trend where I live, and it makes my skin crawl. Story 37. I cannot view a website without first creating an account, usually on a shopping site. I cannot see the results of a quiz for a product I am considering purchasing without providing my name and email. This is frustrating. I realize these points are related, so perhaps they can be considered as one issue. They all pertain to the online experience, and I need to disconnect from the internet. Story 38. I really dislike the doors in my house. They don't open most of the time, and I often run into them face first. Story 39. Text field for emails displays red text indicating email input incorrect when I type my first letter instead of the @ symbol. Story 40. Car drivers who swerve to block motorcyclists from lane filtering at intersections or lane splitting through low-speed traffic are creating unnecessary risks. It is objectively safer for motorcyclists to maneuver through traffic efficiently. Why risk causing an accident? Are you envious of our ability to navigate traffic more easily? Do you view all motorcyclists as inherently reckless due to our preferred mode of transportation? What is the rationale behind this behavior? Story 41. Ignorance prevails among those who express strong opinions without understanding the topic. After studying this subject for 20 years, I remain humble, recognizing that we always have more to learn and can never know everything, as circumstances constantly evolve. It is disheartening to witness individuals lash out with hate, revealing their own misery. It is truly unfortunate to see such behavior. Their choice to embrace negativity, rather than acknowledge something positive that could benefit them, is theirs alone. All we can do is ignore the noise, even though it can be bothersome, akin to a persistent fly. Ironically, I find flies to be kinder than some of the negativity I encounter. Story 42. The way people have whitewashed avocado toast is frustrating. It's the one item that makes my blood boil when I see it on the menu. I have never ordered this from a restaurant. It's appalling to me to see it priced at $15. Story 43. I went to Panera 3 times, and at each visit, I encountered rude associates. The final straw was when I ordered chili and found chickpeas in it. It's not fair to judge all Panera locations based on my limited experiences, but I don't care. Story 44. A difficult experience in high school occurred when I moved to another city and may never see that person again, even after graduating. Story 45. Jewelry stores selling yellow diamonds as if they are something special. The first time I walked into Tiffany, I saw their main display of yellow diamonds. I turned around, walked out, and vowed never to return and to decline any proposals made with a Tiffany ring. I might even end a relationship if a guy bought me anything from Tiffany. Story 46. I need to download an app for everything I do, as well as remember all the usernames and passwords to access them. Story 47. Black comedy can sometimes turn too dark. It's my favorite kind of humor, but at times things can get a bit uncomfortable. Story 48. Avery Business Card Printing Products. I almost punched a hole in my computer screen trying to get the front and back to align. I still haven't figured it out. Story 49. Restaurant surcharges. I live in Chicago, and it has become standard for many restaurants, especially those owned by larger groups, to add 3 to 4% onto the bill as an optional surcharge that covers operating expenses and rising costs, and does not go to staff. This makes me frustrated. Story 50. Can openers. I'm left-handed, and manual crank-operated can openers are frustrating. Don't even get me started on scissors. Story 51. People who express hot takes or unpopular opinions, and then share the most lukewarm popular opinions. People who misuse point of view. My clients. People who refer to any Photoshop or computer-generated image as artificial intelligence. Story 52. Everything I do, someone wants me to rate it on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. Stream a movie? Rate the movie. Get a ride? Rate the driver. Order food delivery. Rate the driver and the food. Forming an opinion when I don't already have one is exhausting. Story 53. I need to upload my resume to the application and manually fill it out. That defeats the purpose of uploading my resume. Story 54. I just dislike the concept of putting substances in a hard-baked bread casing. I really dislike pie. Story 55. Shrinkflation. I recently bought a Magnum ice cream for $5, which is not cheap. It was smaller than my hand. My hands, when measured from the top of my wrist to the tip of my middle finger, are 15 centimeters. I have small hands and that ice cream fit in my palm. It's ridiculous. Story 56. The cost of the US dollar compared to foreign currencies is a concern. Living abroad can be challenging, as it often results in financial losses. Story 57. Regional food rules, such as no ketchup on hot dogs, can be quite amusing. It's interesting how worked up people near Chicago can get about this topic. I don't even want the ketchup, but the fact that it frustrates some people is very funny to me. So, I put ketchup and a scoop of relish on my hot dog just for the fun of it. Story 58. People who have many random tattoos placed without any theme or artistry may appear unattractive from a distance. Story 59. Rude people. I have 7 brothers and sisters, and one thing you can say about all of us collectively is that we all have good manners. I open doors for people, let someone go before me in line, and if I'm on the highway and somebody wants to merge, I allow them to do so. If someone needs help, I assist them. We all advocate for the underdog in my family. I can't stand rude behavior. The self-centered attitude that seems to have permeated society is disturbing. Be kind for goodness sake. It is not hard to do. Stop thinking about yourself all the time. Story 60. How I pay for Spotify and still get ads on podcasts I listen to. I understand that it's the person I'm listening to's fault, but if I'm paying for no ads, that should include podcasts. Spotify should do something about that because this isn't acceptable. I'm tired of skipping them and then trying to find the actual podcast again because I skipped too far. I hate it with a passion. I'm about to go back to Pandora. Story 61. Stores are closed on Easter or public holidays. Not everyone celebrates these holidays. Story 62. The sunlight bouncing in and out of the trees and any bright lights, especially LED lights, can be overwhelming. I have multiple disorders and medications that cause light sensitivity. Story 63. Post the recipe without sharing your entire life story and the background of the ingredients you're using. I got so fed up with that I only cook from recipe books now. Story 64. There is a person who keeps insisting that the Columbia Tower is better than the Space Needle. I keep telling him that it is not a competition. Story 65. Potatoes with sour cream or mashed, carrots and broccoli, onions and mushrooms, one of my favorites, along with fresh rolls, usually makes the perfect dinner. Story 66. This is a pretty niche topic, but the logic of career fire departments baffles me. The fire department says they need firefighters now. There are people who want to be firefighters but live in a different town or zip code, yet are within 20 minutes of the career department. The Civil Service Commission and the fire department respond, but not you. Story 67. Usually, a baked potato or sweet potato depends on the type of beef. For example, with steak, I would definitely choose a baked potato. However, with brisket, I prefer to reach for the coleslaw. Story 68. My phone gives me trouble all the time. I have more issues with it than a magazine article. It even makes me quite hostile sometimes. Story 69. My frustration arises when an advertisement appears featuring something I am genuinely interested in. When I click Learn More to find out the price, I cannot get that information. They either process the order while asking questions about size, or they instruct me to add the item to the cart. I cannot simply check the price to decide whether to pursue it further. This drives me crazy, so I now ignore the ads. Story 70. Ads appear after every couple of songs on music apps. Ads show every 5 minutes on Peacock or Hulu. Just ads. Story 71. It usually depends on whether the meat is grass-fed or grain-fed, which cut is chosen, and how it is prepared and cooked. Classic pairings vary between options such as a burger and a steak. Sides, sauces, and salads are so diverse that it is difficult to recommend a single option, but my personal favorites are creamy mashed potatoes with infused herbs and oils, peppercorn sauce, and green bean salad with arugula. Most people recommend red wines, but I personally prefer half a pint of Guinness. Or did you mean beef, as in an argument, bugbear, or pet hate? It is amazing how a missing word in a question can lead to wildly different assumptions and answers. Story 72. The neighbors and the parking in front of the house have been an issue. I have lived here my whole life, and my parents owned this house for 35 years. The new neighbors in the half-double have 4 vehicles. They constructed a carport in the back that accommodates 4 vehicles, but they choose to park all 4 in front of the house, leaving no parking for anyone else on the block. When I asked if they could park 2 of their cars in the back, they snapped back, saying, "I don't own the street parking." I replied that they do. They muttered something under their breath. They also park in a way that 2 cars take up 3 spaces because they park nearly 9 feet behind the next car. I have a car that hasn't run in a couple of months in my garage. I jumped it and got it running enough to pull it out and park it right in front of my house. I can't move it now, but for now, victory is mine. Story 73, skinny, neurotypical, and privileged. It has affected me for as long as I can remember, and people call me crazy when I try to expose it. Story 74. Survivor has given up on finding different locales and unique challenges, and we are all pretending that this is fine. Story 75. Shoppers who park their carts in the middle of the walkway, blocking everyone else from getting through just to grab a single loaf of rye bread, should take the item with them. I work in retail, you see. Story 76. I can't stand video game consoles. It's really not about the games, but it frustrates me that you can't play a campaign unless it's connected to the Wi-Fi. Story 77. People often make assumptions about you based on the stage in life when they met you. I'm very athletic and have a lot of nutritional knowledge. Unfortunately, my thyroid condition affected my health. Now, women I meet often give me unsolicited advice about diets and exercise. I have an issue with these assumptions. You met me at 40 and just assume I've been overweight forever and don't know what a lunge is. Perhaps we are all a little crazy sometimes. Story 78, Jeb Bush. I thought his name was Jebediah, but it's John Edward Bush, similar to Gob from Arrested Development. It was the only presidential aspect about him. Story 79, things that aren't human. I'll express my frustration toward inanimate objects if they inconvenience me, especially when I stub my toe on something. Story 80. Oh, do you really want to start this? The chip-to-air ratio in a bag of chips. My feelings. People who are perpetrators of sexual violence, racists, transphobic, homophobic, sexist, or just terrible in general. Climate change. The state of the world right now. Observing couples in public, not in a creepy way, and then feeling sad and lonely, but also not wanting a partner because I dislike almost everyone. School. Thank goodness it's the holidays. Story 81. Shopping for groceries at Walmart. People push their carts with their heads down, focused on their phones. Story 82. Cars kill 1.4 million people a year. They spread pollution everywhere. They are noisy and waste time for everyone. Story 83. There is a significant lack of color everywhere. As a car enthusiast, the number of times I see a colorful, nice car is rare, often less than 1%. When I share my excitement, my fellow car enthusiast friends often dismiss these cars as ugly, insisting that black looks better. This is quite depressing. Remember those American cars from the 1960s? They came in all sorts of shades, and no one was concerned that they looked childish or immature. Story 84. That annoying Geico commercial where the gecko talks about sticky buns and eye contact is getting tiresome. Geico needs to rotate more than just 2 commercials. The screaming goat was funny the first time, but each time I see it makes me more determined to never use Geico. Story 85. Scooters in skate parks. You can be performing triple backflips in front of me on one, and I still won't care. It looks unappealing and is primarily responsible for parks being nearly unrideable for the last 15 years. Story 86. The new expectation to tip 10%, 20%, or 30% for any purchase is concerning. It feels uncomfortable to be tip-shamed for choosing no tip if I don't want to give 20% for purchasing a baguette. Story 87. Apps for everything. Hundreds of passwords to remember. Please stop referring me to your application and just answer my question. Story 88. I'm trying to stay under 2,400 calories a day to maintain my calorie deficit while enjoying the foods I love. If I indulge in my favorite meal, it will be my only meal of the day, and I will need to have lighter meals for the rest of the day. I enjoy eating. Story 89. Critics of individuals who do not conform to societal norms include those who disapprove of night owls. people who choose unconventional pets such as tarantulas, those who decide to remain child-free, and individuals who opt not to marry. Discontent is also directed toward women who do not shave and men with long hair. You understand the sentiment. Story 90. I don't mean to sound cold, but we have an issue with the homeless, like in most places. Many different agencies go out and provide food, coffee, and blankets. I refer to these agencies as enablers. By providing support, they enable individuals to avoid taking responsibility for themselves. I understand that this perspective may be controversial. Story 91. Mayonnaise is ubiquitous, and many places do not offer mayo-free options. It can be awkward to mention a mayo allergy, as this often leads to the removal of eggs as well. Story 92. The government continues to impose harsh measures on us, and if you don't think so, then you deserve to be held accountable. Story 93. The Bride of Frankenstein, or at least how she is portrayed in modern media, is not a happy couple in love. She wants nothing to do with him. In the movie, she appears only in the last 5 minutes, and when she sees him, she screams and then faints. She is horrified by him, and she is not canon to the book either. In the book, the doctor intended to build him a bride but changed his mind, so she never truly existed. Story 94. Usually, I have potatoes when I'm eating steak. For shredded beef, I prefer it in a baguette. If it's minced, I enjoy it in a bun with lettuce, tomato, and onions. Beef is very versatile. You can pair it with almost anything. Story 95. Slices sprinkled with a good amount of salt, a thin slice of butter, and a dollop of mayonnaise, rolled up and then sliced, create a heavenly treat when we have some in the fridge. Story 96. Having to create an account for every online service can be frustrating. How about you allow me to try your service first to see if it is worthwhile before I provide the personal information you require? Story 97. Dungarees on grown women. Are you trying to look like a toddler and attract strange individuals? I cannot understand it. Story 98. Recycling bottle caps is important. I prefer to keep the cap on the bottle because removing it makes closing the bottle more inconvenient. Recently, I accidentally scratched my nose with one, which was quite frustrating. Story 99. Just because I buy something in your store does not mean I need to join your rewards program. You do not need my phone number or my email address. You need my money. I do not need your app, I do not need to create an account, and I do not want to. Consider reducing your product prices instead. Story 100. QR codes can replace physical menus. I was just working on graphics for 8 hours. I didn't leave home to scroll on my phone on this gorgeous day. Story 101. Credit card debts until I found a way to pay them off and started a small business where I help people manage their debts. Story 102. When people break the social contracts we all ascribe to as members of society, it creates issues. Example 1. Being rude to someone in situations where you know they cannot defend themselves. Example 2. Having a self-centered mentality even if it negatively impacts others and you are aware of it. Example 3. Continuously doing the wrong thing simply because you have not been caught yet. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.